Hello, folks. We're back, and I'm joined by Owen from Organic Cardboard.
Yep.
And Owen and I, we play a lot of games. We're about to play a game. He's about to teach me a game called Revive,
Yeah.
and it looks complicated.
It's got a lot of pieces, a lot of chits, a lot of little things to set out, but it's not too bad when somebody else knows it and they can teach it to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's kind of that's the theme for today's video. Mm-hmm. So I spent all day reading Robinson Crusoe and trying to fall into sleep through the how to play videos.
Yeah.
And doing all this stuff, trying to eternalize Robinson Crusoe, and it's like for some reason it's another one. I feel like it's like a water on a duck. It's just it's going right off of me. So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about our favorite ways to learn board games, because it's just kind of an interesting thing to think about, and I'd like to know down in the comments down below what your favorite way to learn a board game is, or if there's something else that we didn't talk about very much. If you want to bring that up, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, or even if you just have a certain process, because I feel like it's probably universal for most people that their favorite way is to just have somebody teach them the game, right? You can take a game that's going to be days sometimes, and it's not even that I don't know what it is. I just can't interpret words on a page properly or whatever. Because afterwards I'm like, oh, it says it right there, but for some reason to get that thing to get in, sometimes it can take me days to figure out how to get that rule set stuck in. But somebody can teach it to me in 5 to 15 minutes of something that was I don't know why.
I think the only problem is that most of the time there isn't anyone,
right?
Or you're the one that's going to be teaching it, so you're the one that has to learn it and read it and try to do it. So I guess there's a couple of different ways to think about it. So we've got we got videos, we've got apps that'll teach you now, like Dized.
Or in the future,
is it Diced or is it Dized?
Dized. Yeah, one of them.
And is there any other apps?
There probably are. I mean, you got some companies are making their own game apps, either for the company themselves, or they've got an individual game, and it might give you a run through too as well.
Yeah.
But Dized is, I think that seems like the first one that's really kind of trying to prioritize. That's what they're doing is and Tiny Epic's using them a lot.
So
yeah.
That's almost all of their stuff's in there.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other ones as well. A lot of the really big,
Stonemeyer seems to have adopted that one too.
Yeah, so it's a nice addition to have. But yeah, apps
I guess another thing would be the reduced rule set game, like Harrow County. Harrow County, we didn't do. If I'd only played Harrow County the way the rule book suggested, I probably would have been so much further ahead, because I just wanted to go ahead and learn the full game. So, I kind of skipped right to the third part and just incorporated all this stuff. What you're supposed to do is play it with a very small set of the rules, and then you add on a little bit more and you play it again.
Yeah.
And then you add on just the last little bit, and then you've got the whole game. But we just skipped right to the third one.
Yeah. That's kind of what they do then when you're, they know that the rule set is going to be hefty for someone to pick up. They'll usually do that. Revive does this little, this pseudo campaign. But you could actually add most of that in. It's not overly complicated. God damn, everybody.
That's my answer. Yes, I did set all the timers.
So you've got people doing videos. You've got these apps. You've got your friends teaching you. There are also these things that they call rule books. Oh. Some people will read these, and I don't know where they learned how to read or internalize logical demonstrations of how things are played, but some people can do that really well.
Well, some people skip both the rule books and the how to play videos and just watch people playing it.
Yeah.
Just watching playthroughs and stuff. I guess that's even a different kind of video category. Right?
And I don't so what's your process as far as when you get to a new game and you're wanting to pick it up? I mean, do you just immediately go, I'm going to read this entire rule book?
So I try to read the rule book we're talking about like crowdfunded games that are going to arrive within a year, right? So as the game's being created, if they post a rule book, or hopefully they've done it during the campaign or something, I always download it. And as I start getting more excited about it, I might take a lunch break and I'll read some of the rules or try to internalize a little bit, like well before it even comes. Like, I find that if I read the rules and then try to figure it out later, I do a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm not going to remember all this stuff in the rule book, but once it's clicked in there once, it's like I just have to remind myself.
Yeah, it becomes
things.
more familiar.
So I try to read the rules, and then I watch someone play to try to pick up, see if I understand what they're doing.
Yeah, to get that kind of flow of the game or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
because there's
like,
what I don't get out of rule books for me is I don't get the rhythm, that kind of like, oh, you do this and that makes that happen. Do this, that.
Yeah.
I don't pick up that. It's all, really pretty much past the setup. I start getting kind of, it gets real conceptual for me until you try to put it into practice. And it's funny that games that really aren't that complicated will be very confusing to try to describe with words.
Yeah.
And a lot of the games we play too, I mean, they're translated from another language. I like a lot of these games that come out of Poland and stuff like that. And I can tell that English was not what they were written.
Yeah, it's like they say it in such a literal way that it just doesn't sound right or something. It throws you off. You're like, are you meaning this? I'm like, no, I said it exactly how I said it. That's how it is.
Or the phrasing's just a little bit unfamiliar, maybe, but so I try to read. I find that I can't really understand anything until I put the game out. Do you put the game out when you're?
Yeah. So like my general process is the very first thing I'm going to do. Usually, if I'm really going to learn, like I might like kind of peek around at Sometimes I'll throw on some how to plays. I'm usually doing something else at the same time. I'm kind of half following along, getting the general gist. But when I'm really gonna like sit down and like, okay, I want to learn this game. Like I just got, if I just get Revive in or something, I'm really gonna learn how to play this. Very first thing I want to do is I will sit there with the rule book and set up the game, get it out on the board, out on the table, anyways, and then usually I do this weird back and forth thing, and it's not because it's very efficient, but it's just how my brain works. Where I'll read a little bit of the rules. I'll skim through it. I'll watch how to play, and then go back and kind of reread the rules again. I mean, if I'm really wanting to understand the game well, read the rules once. For some reason that doesn't really fully click, then I'll watch a video and be like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. And then to really incorporate it, again, I'll go back and reread the rules after watching how to play, or especially like some of the, learn as it's played. Like John Gets Games does that kind of thing where he tries to teach you as he's playing. That's pretty effective for a lot of people.
He does a great job. Yeah. I really, really learn a lot off his videos and stuff. Yeah.
Really good for getting that flow of how the game goes. But at some point, it all starts to gel and make sense. But it's like, there's such abstract concepts in a lot of these games that for some reason, just reading straight from the rule book and and you'll miss little things and all this. So there's so many. It's just like, and then once you get the game down, then you're like, oh, this is super simple. Why couldn't I just read through that and understand it? And somebody teaches it to you again. It's like they can do a 5-minute teach for a lot of these games that are so hard to grasp for some reason the very first time you look at it.
People we have a friend named Paulo. We haven't played a ton of games with him, but he's taught us a few of them. And for some reason, he just does it so well.
Yeah,
it's really compelling. He's interesting and stuff, and he's even got a nice big thick Italian accent. But I understand everything perfectly. He does such a good job. And I like to do, I skip back and forth too, but what I've started doing is I'll go to like Ready, Steady, Play. They'll do playthroughs, but they do like a round, and then they do the next round the next day. So they don't they kind of like, they'll release a video a day all week of the same game. So instead of one big long playthrough. That's
a good way to do it. Yeah, take it in some pieces.
Yeah, you just have a couple of chapters. So I'll like watch and I'll go, oh, okay. And I'll kind of read the rule book. And then the next day I'll go watch it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I'll go back and forth with those guys. And it just kind of gradually worked my way through the rules. Sometimes I think I did that with Nemesis.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know what it is. I think a part of it too is I'm not a very like. I'm sure there's plenty of other people like me out there that I'm not one of those people that like just can. What am I trying to say? Like a reading learner? What do you call it?
Book learning.
Book learner. Yeah.
He's not so good with the book learning.
What am I trying to say? Because it's not visual learning. It's like, but just like reading and interpreting it in a way. But like every now and then, like I have gotten games before where I'll sit there and just methodically read the rules. And like, I guess that's a good way to learn a rule book is to actually do that. But I'll start to like trail off. I'll get tired. I'll get sleepy while I'm doing it. I'm like, and then there's this thing, and then there's that. It's like a really dry way to learn it. And then, you know, if I really take my time doing that, you can certainly learn a game the old-fashioned way by just simply reading the rule book. But yeah, I don't know what it is. It always seems to be this convoluted thing that goes on where I was like back and forth, watching the videos, watching some of the gameplay, going back and actually reading the rule book myself later on. It helps though for me to grasp the rule book if I have an idea of how it's playing beforehand, and then I go back to it, and I'm like, oh, that's what they were talking about, and now I can like it all clicks a little better.
If somebody teaches me the game, like the most optimal way, it has all these elements, right? So we've got the game in front of us.
Yeah.
Someone's showing us how to do it, and then we immediately start doing it.
Yeah, and they have immediate answers too. Like that's one of the things that really slows you down because like you'll have 15 questions as you're learning the game. And then you're like, oh, wait, how does that work? Where's
they
the
can
page
just rattle that off.
And you're like looking, but you can just be like, hey, what happens when this happens? And they just go, oh, this, you know, and you're like, oh, cool. And then you just keep moving along, and so it doesn't break up the flow, it doesn't break up your thought process, too, while you're learning as well. So
that's why, so if I'm learning from someone, it's even better if they played the game like 100 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no rule books to dig through or anything like that, or maybe just a quick reference or for setup or something, and then you're rolling and stuff. It's refreshing and fun way to do it.
So I'm going to do this thing with Sean here in a minute where I have played this game and I learned it pretty well, and then I didn't play it for a little while, and then I'm going to remember it while I'm teaching Sean, so it's not going to be the most optimal in-person teach.
We have so many complicated games that we play. It's like they're all starting to blend together and stuff too. But you know, Owen also does a great job teaching the games, and it's a good thing too because boy, you bring a lot of them over.
Yeah, and I do like some complicated Euro games, so you know, it's always something abstract. I like to hurt myself, I guess.
Well, folks, I think we're gonna run up some tracks.
Yeah, we're gonna learn some technologies and make our machines do their things.
Maybe you'll hear a little bit about Revive on Owen's channel, Organic Cardboard. Be sure to subscribe to him or myself, and don't forget to click like on your way out if you like videos like this. We don't often do musings, but every now and then we do. And if you'd like to see more, there's a playlist right here. Until next time, enjoy your games, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.